But let's now get back to our previous story regarding the increase in egg sales from the 2nd of May. It's coming in the back of the high increase in production costs that farmers are saying is really having a toll on their profit margins. Also, we do know that for this price increase, we're going to be expecting some contrition rate, especially when consumption rate for eggs in Ghana currently stands below 30%. And last year, there was a glut of eggs across the country, calling for, which resulted in prices reducing dramatically by over 50%. But this time around, consumers and producers are complaining that the impact of the Ukraine war, together with the, continuing disruption in the supply chain of fertilizer, is really having a toll on the feed for poultry and subsequently the production of eggs back home. The Assistant Secretary of the Small-Scale Poultry Farmers, Fred Damwa, will be joining us shortly for a conversation on the impact this could have on consumption moving forward, the possibility of prices continuing to increase, especially when inflation is on the high side, with food inflation also escalating the month of April. We shall raise a line to get in touch with him shortly, of course, to get a clear understanding of what particularly remains the state of Ghana's, poultry sector and the subsequent production of eggs in the country. Fred, we're grateful that you could join us. You're increasing the rate, the cost of eggs in the moment when we're having inflation also skyrocket and the prices of goods and services skyrocket. Help us appreciate the impact it's having on your production, hence your decision to increase prices.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, so just as you said in your question, most of our goods and services are going up in prices. So one bitter truth is so many poultry farms are closing down because of what you just stated. And it's been happening for the past 2 years, where the cost of inputs are increasing on weekly basis. So here lies the case where we have to come together and decide on one thing or one price that would help all of us. And so I had the data, we looked at the data 2 years and now. Most of our inputs have increased by up to 200%, while the egg prices have just remained almost the same since the last 2 years. And so we thought it wise that business-wise, it would be very okay that we come together and come up with a uniform price that would help the whole Ghana. That would help the poultry farmers to stay in business. If not, I am not a prophet of doom, but I can say that in the next, let's say by the end of this year, most poultry farmers, including the big ones we know, may all close down.
That this is quite a vivid and, gloomy picture you're painting for us.
Yeah, so it's the reality. I will be sharing the data with you maybe later. You can broadcast it in your subsequent bulletins. But that is the raw fact. A lot of maize used to be 75 cedis, 70 cedis. It's now 180 cedis. And we are even hearing that it's now about to move to 190, which you can calculate the difference. Soya was just 95 cedis, 100 cedis 2 years ago. It's now 300 cedis. You see, and a whole lot like wheat bran also was 20 cedis. Now we are buying wheat bran at 54, 57 cedis. So it really doesn't make sense that we should keep selling eggs unless we just want to all stay out of business. And mind you, egg is one thing we don't normally import from outside. It is one of our own locally produced goods that we can be proud of. So if we want to still stay in business, then we'll plead with all Ghanaians to accept these prices for the betterment of the industry.
Last year, your industry recorded an egg glut, and you complained about the fact that Ghanaians are not patronizing eggs that much. With an increase in your commodity, how is it going to impact on your consumption and your profit margins? Because definitely there could be a dip in consumption rate of eggs. So
I think that last year what happened was a similar thing. We just decided to adjust the price, and then suddenly the whole population, the pitches went down, like you said. And so this time we want to do it in a more professional way, or want to make it go more public so that people can appreciate our cry or our tears or our effort. Because if we don't do it like this, you don't understand why we are increasing the prices. Somebody may sit down and think, oh, they just want to increase their profit margin. But that is not the case. We are actually dying out. We are actually dying out.
Where do you see prices? Where do you see prices of eggs in the next 3 to 6 months, considering the situation we find ourselves in currently?
Yes, so that would also depend on the price of our inputs. You see, I will send you the data to take a critical look at it. Now, the last 2 years and now, the prices of eggs have just increased by just 50%, whilst the inputs are increasing by 200% and still counting, because we just heard that maize is about to go up, and definitely soya would also go up. And so that is it's serious. If we don't come together, unfortunately, the poultry industry has been an industry where most of the people, sorry to say, are not so much into the business aspect like the calculation. But here we are, we've come together, put a lot of analysis in place and realized that, look, we have to also increase our prices by a certain margin or we are out of business. I can tell you for a fact, and the records we have, that so many poultry farms have closed down. So many. Some have reduced their beds. I mean, we don't want to even talk about our situation here. So we are still, again, pleading with the public to accept it for us so that we can also keep producing eggs.
Fred Damoa, in under a minute, if you may, what are the challenges threatening your sector as we speak? In under a minute.
Well, I would say number one is the cost of input. And then also, when we look at the maize producers of Ghana complaining about some fertilizers and other things that has not made them produce the maize in the quantity that they need for us to be able to buy, something like that. So if we take it to the background, that is also a challenge. And also, yes, mainly is the cost of production.
The cost of production.
From that, there is not really any pressing challenge that we have.
All right, and we shall see how best this is going to pan out in the weeks to months ahead in terms of consumption and impacting on profit margins. But we're grateful that you could join us, and that's how we wrap up this edition of The Marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.